Tech Tom has hit the button. You know, Tech Tom, I'm liking having you on here. Can we just like kick Jester to the curb?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got a good radio voice too.
Yeah, you do. You do. This guy's blushing right now. Welcome to episode 2 of my podcast, Deanna Cruz Unfiltered. I am Deanna Cruz. And well, as you can tell, we're getting to know each other a little bit more and getting familiar with each other's voices. And who are these people? Well, Cindy's a good friend of mine. She is a nurse and she also does CrossFit with me. That's how we initially met. And there's Tech Tom. He's behind the music, behind the production, and all the good stuff. We'll get to know him. But in this episode, we're talking about pursuing our passion, pursuing our dreams, and do we ever give up on that? Or do we just keep going? Find out. Deanna Cruz Unfiltered, episode 2. Here we go. Summer send-off party with Nurse Cindy and Tech Tom.
Hey.
How was the rest of your summer, Cindy? It seems like you've been busy up through the end of September.
Yeah, I don't really know the last time we talked, but yeah, I've been to Europe and back and working, and school just started again. So, back to the grind, but it was a
little
short
stressed out.
summer. Stressed out, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I've been to Europe as well, not with you, Cindy, but went there, came back, and then here I am, back to the grind too, but not as crazy as you.
And you did Portugal, right?
And I did Portugal, yeah. You did?
Croatia, Siena, Italy, and Montenegro.
Oh, okay. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Tech Tom, how was Colorado?
Very good, yeah.
He stayed within the U.S.
Yep. Still got to see a lot of sightseeing. We went on a train ride. It was really nice, right down by the Colorado-New Mexico border.
Okay.
It crosses the border 11 times over 65 miles. It takes most of a day to go, and we had lunch along the way. But we were up in the high country, so we got to see the leaves change. And
Wow.
It was beautiful. It was
Yeah,
really nice.
see, Tech Tom was the technical guy behind the scenes on our first round of our podcast, and we really, really tried to get him to talk. And this time around, he has no choice. I made him get on the mic. So yeah, welcome, Tech Tom.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, now we're gonna have to post his picture up, and then all the ladies are gonna be like, "Hey!" One thing I wanted to talk about today was pursuing your passion and what you love in life. I think this is something that's been on my mind for the past year. Over a year. It's the reason why I moved out to Seattle was to pursue my radio career. And I thought that, this is going to be a great step forward. And then things happen, and doing this podcast is going back into the things that I enjoy doing and kind of feeling a little bit more fulfilled in the things that you love. So yeah, what are the things I love? I love communication. I love meeting people. I like knowing their story because I feel like everyone has a unique story, even as simple as, hey, why did you move to Seattle? Or why did you, and getting to know that I think is huge. So I wanted to start by finding out what your passions are. I think I know what yours is, Cindy, but maybe there's more there. And Tech Tom, maybe I know, but I think you'll surprise me. So Cindy, tell me.
Should we start with you guessing what you think mine are?
I think obviously you're in school right now to be a nurse practitioner. Yeah. So I know you love helping people. You actually put people first before you. I've noticed that a lot. So I think your passion is really helping other people. Like you are definitely not selfish. Like if somebody ever said that about you, I'd be like, punch him in the face. How dare you say that about my friend? You're very caring. And I've said this to you in the past that I have met people and then they tell me they're a nurse and I'm always like, oh, that makes sense. She's like my friend, Nurse Cindy, because I think there's a certain quality that you have to be a nurse, compassion and just like very easy to talk. And you have all those qualities. So is that your passion?
Well, yeah, people is definitely my passion. My mom likes to attribute it to her advice to me the first time she sent me off to sleepaway camp. She said to introduce myself and say hi to everybody. And that's how I'd make friends. And so
that's what she said. Your mom said that?
She says it still. I don't know if that was true, but she likes to say it's because of her. Because I do try to meet everybody and talk to people.
Yeah.
But also travel. Like I really love travel. Mm-hmm. And so when I know we're going to go a little more into depth with this, but not giving up on your dreams, right? And a few years back, I saw a job listing for a nurse on a private yacht. Mm-hmm. And from the time I applied for it to the time I got it was 2 years. And
You applied for it and then it took 2 years to actually get the job?
so I applied for it. I had like 10 interviews.
Really?
Yeah. Face-to-face, phone.
It dragged on for 2 years, this interview process.
So I didn't get the job after like maybe 3 months of interviewing. They said they wanted somebody with yachting experience. And so I just thought, oh, well, obviously that was like a once in a lifetime thing. I wasn't going to get it. But then they reached back out to me like 6 months later and was like, hey, we got this other opening. We liked you. Do you want to apply for it? I did. Again, crazy amount of interviewing. Somebody flew from Australia to Miami to meet with me for coffee. I thought it was in the bag. Didn't get the job.
Are you serious?
Yeah. But that's when I was like, that's when I realized this was something I really wanted.
Uh-huh.
And I quit my job.
What were you doing at the time? Were you a nurse?
Yeah, I was a intensive care unit, open heart kind of unit nurse on Miami Beach. And I took a 2-week training, which you need to have to work on a yacht. And it's like $1,200 or something. I couldn't afford it at the time, but I did it.
put that on the credit card.
Yeah. And because I was like, well, if, I need to get this thing. So I did it. And then I started doing travel nursing. I took a contract out here and I started bugging them. And I was like, since we last talked, I've done this. And they were like, well, actually, weird that our headquarters is here in Seattle. Why don't you come see us? So
did you know that the headquarters were here?
Of course.
All right.
And so met them face to face. And after 2 years, I got the job. And I
after 2 years of the initial interview.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, I never knew that.
Yeah, it was.
I wish you had shared that. All these stories I have of you, of me applying for these radio jobs and going to interviews. It's like, nah. It's like, had you told me that,
Yeah, it beat me down for sure.
Yeah.
It definitely beat me down. But I just kept plugging away doing nursing. I love nursing.
Right.
But I really wanted
to travel as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it combined both of your passions.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And how long were you on the boat?
2.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah. 5 months on, 1 month off.
And you went all over the world, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
Name me one place you have not gone.
Antarctica.
Okay. All right. So is there a boat that goes there that we can get her on a yacht?
They kept promising we would end up going there. That's why I stayed for as long as I did. But I finally had to give up.
So have you basically been to all the continents then? Except Antarctica?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a little jealous. Maybe I should go do radio around the world.
That'd be fun.
Essentially, that is kind of like this podcast, right? Is you can listen from around the world. How about we do that? We take it on the road. We pick we go to Antarctica because that's the first place you want to go, right?
Yeah.
So we'll get that out of the way and we all pick, one country and we just broadcast from there.
Yep. Tie it into like a Instagram kind of thing and then do that and then do this. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Well, first, let me find a travel agency who will sponsor that.
Yeah, exactly.
Tech Tom, what's your passion?
I would say it's this whole tech thing. It's microphones, it's audio, it's
so the nickname
electronics.
Tech Tom
It
actually
does
fits
fit,
perfectly.
yeah. And I've thought about it more recently because when I was growing up as a kid going through high school, my family was very sports oriented. It was
Did
football.
you play sports?
I played sports.
What'd you play?
Football, basketball, all varsity in high school and all that stuff. Yeah. But it was a big focus on like growing up to like, oh, go to practice, weightlift and do all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I look back at it now and I'm like, they were really pushing hard for that, but it wasn't like I was going to get to the next level. You have to be very special to get to the college level.
Yeah.
And even more special to go to the next level,
Right.
to the big level. So at the same time as that was happening, I started tinkering with other stuff. And I wish that I could have seen it in myself or had somebody seen it in me that was where my real passion was messing around. And I have all kinds of little stories. One that I love is...
Wait. Before you go into
yes.
that, did you ever play any music, instruments, any of that stuff?
So I played in orchestra since like the 4th grade.
Okay.
Violin, viola, and stand-up bass.
Okay,
Double bass,
okay,
yes.
okay.
So I had music kind of going on, but as much
While
as...
also playing sports?
While also playing sports, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how did you get more into the techie side of things?
So I just... As doing music and playing in bands, you have to know how to plug stuff in and make stuff work. So it's like, oh, none of my other bandmates are going to do this, so let me figure out how to do this. Yeah, so it was super fun. I love it. I love plugging stuff in like that. And I think it came on early too. If I look back on specific moments, we were playing basketball. I think it was sophomore or junior year, and I was on the JV team. But I like to run like the sound effects and the microphone and the PA for the varsity. So after the game on JV, I would go dress back out and then sit behind the stands with all the audio equipment and run the whole system for the varsity games.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and if I look back on that now, I'm like, oh, like that could have been a career right there.
Right.
And I did. I basically jumped into it now. So,
did you ever DJ? Were you ever like a DJ? Did you throw parties and then you were the guy who was picking the music at all, or no?
not so much.
No?
I mean, I enjoy it now, having to choose some music and try to be more relevant, more on top of what's popular and stuff. But no, not so much as I would rather take what the DJ does and amplify it correctly to the audience.
Right, so it doesn't sound distorted or like over. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
just plugging stuff in.
And so now you do that as a passion, but what do you currently do?
Yep, I work at American Music in Fremont. So I'm assistant manager of the retail store, and then I do the rental building and stuff. So we do all of the backline requests for bands. We do, if somebody wanted, a backyard system for like a party for like 30 or 40 people, we can give you speakers to like plug your phone into, and all the way up to festivals in town. We do some of the bigger festivals and stuff. So
So this is why Jeff still rooms with you, I see.
yes.
Yeah, that's why they're roommates, because I'm sure he can use a few things from you. No, I'm just joking. Hey, can you get a few mics for us? In down the line, right? If you fast forward 10 years, where do you see your career being?
Yep. I like, there's a guy that I work with named Terry, and he has been a fixture in Seattle music scene for over 30 years. I mean, the guy's just been around, and everybody knows him in all the clubs. He has installations in most places and stuff. So it would be fun to be part of a large community of a major city and stuff. And I'm kind of well on my way to get there. I'm starting to meet the right people, shake the right hands, and solve problems. That's basically what they do. They have a problem, they call me.
Do you see yourself in Seattle in 10 years?
I would love to.
You would love to stay
absolutely.
here? And you're originally from Colorado?
Colorado.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I moved out here with the band.
Yeah.
That's typical, like get in the van, let's go to Seattle. Yeah.
And Cindy, you're originally from Miami, but do you see yourself staying here in the next 10 years?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's not as concrete as his answer, but
Right,
yeah.
right. Jeff starts trying to pull him to LA, so we may lose him, but he better not. Just leave me the mics, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, they talk about the city changing quite a bit here with more tech. Like the price of renting and stuff is going. Cost of living is going up quickly. So it is getting different than it was. I've thought a lot of people who have been here before or have been here for a long time, they're like, "Oh, I'm getting out. I don't like this city anymore," and they're all weird about it. But it has a magic to me still. Like I still drive downtown at night and look up at the Space Needle. And I'm like, "Oh my God, it's real. We're here." And so yeah, I love it.
I feel
and
that way too.
Yep.
Yeah. The Space Needle does something to me every time I see it.
Yeah.
Every time.
To me, it's funny because, I went to school in Boston and I lived there for like 10 years. And to me, that's how I feel when I see Boston and I see that sicko sign. It's always like, oh, that's home. Oh, that's how because I used to I went to Boston University and I lived right down the street. So when I first moved to Boston, I was so lost. I didn't know where the hell I was. I'd always just follow the sicko sign. I was like, no, I know I live right there. So I would always follow it. I don't live by the Space Needle, so I can't say that. It's too expensive over there. I kind of get that same feeling. Seattle, I've been here for 3 years now. How about you?
10 years.
10 years? Oh, wow. And you, 3 years. Yeah. The two of us, Cindy and I met in CrossFit, and I liked her because she was from the East Coast and we both moved around the same time. Right. And I was like, hey, can we be friends? Yeah. So do you ever think and kind of reconsider maybe giving up on your passion and being like, you know what, screw this. I want a 9-to-5 job, or I want something that's a little bit more secure. Especially I say that because obviously my career is in radio and it fluctuates all the time. One day you may have a job, the next day you're gone, and then you're like, what's next?
Yep.
What's
I think
next?
People who have passion for what they're doing, there is no 9-to-5. It's just you're waking up and you're going to bed, and in the meantime, you're doing stuff that you enjoy. And some of it may be really hard work, but at the end of the day, you're like, it isn't a 9-to-5, and it's never would be. Even saying that, as you said, the 9-to-5, people talk about. We always joke with the white picket fence, dog in the yard.
Yes, yeah.
And living out here for as long as I have, I've noticed some stuff that I don't think that you have to be that. I think that was pounded into us from a very early age that that's the way we have to live. And I think if you go to other countries, it isn't like that. I've been to a few other countries, and it seems like people there, they don't abide by that rule. It's just do what makes you happy, and and be happy in doing it.
And your job is not necessarily in other countries. I feel like your job isn't really a career. It's just a means of paying the bills and getting food on the table, and your family's probably first.
Yes.
You know, I see that a lot in like Portugal and with my family. They have this job, but that's not their career. That's not what their passion is. But their family is. So they put that first instead.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Cindy, have you ever thought about like saying, screw this, I don't want to do nursing anymore?
No, because nursing is really part of my passion. But sometimes I feel like, I want to like go do nursing abroad again.
Yeah. Do you think you ever will maybe?
Yeah, I think when I graduate in March 2020, and I'm a family nurse practitioner, I'll probably look into like what the World Health Organization has.
Yeah, I was gonna say, would you travel with the organization and go to these? Yeah,
yeah,
I could see you do that.
I'm very torn between wanting to like save the world and travel and do stuff that might not make me tons of money, and then like wanting to have a nice clinic that I can have a nice picket fence because that's what you're
supposed to have, right?
The standard of like, am I doing well? Am I not doing well? Even though, like you said, that's really not how it should be. But you feel like maybe.
Well, I think for you, it's going to be paying back those grad loans and stuff. That's going to be on your list. So if going and being a nurse or going, working for these world organizations is going to help pay for those, I think you may do it.
I will sign my life away.
And then you would open up your own practice, which, by the way, I will be one of your patients.
Yes.
Yes. We were talking about living in Seattle and how a lot of people feel like or want to move out because the cost of living is getting so expensive here. And recently, the minimum wage in Seattle has gone up to $15. And I was listening to some this conversation, and they were all commenting and saying how like, oh wow, $15, that's a lot. This and that. And I will say this. I get paid minimum wage because, like I said, I have a part-time job right now in retail, and even if I did 40 hours a week, it is not enough to pay my bills. And I am nowhere close to paying what you're paying in rent or what Cindy's paying in rent. Like I don't know how I would do it. Like if you're getting paid minimum wage, you're doing 40 hours a week. If you don't live with 2, 3, 4 other people, you're not going to be able to afford rent. You can't live on your own. You can't. You would just be paying to have a roof over your head and not enough money for food, for water, for like, if you wanted to, I do CrossFit, but it's like something I enjoy doing that. And I need it for my sanity because I feel like if I didn't do CrossFit, I'd probably be on a bunch of meds, So it's like, where's the balance here? That's my outlet. That's what gives me my checks and balances. That's what's, so no, $15 an hour, that's not enough.
And is it just rent? Do you think rent's the main culprit for like taking the money that we earn? Or is it, is it little nickel and dimes along the way? The gas, the groceries? I mean, is all that higher too? Or is it just...
I mean, you're in the same boat, basically, retail, right?
Absolutely.
And I feel like, yes, gas, I feel like gas is high everywhere. It's not just in Seattle. Do you agree?
Yeah. And then nickel and diming at Starbucks. Like the unnecessary Starbucks we pick up all the time.
Yeah,
too.
but you know what? I'm not spending $100 a month on Starbucks. I'm not. I think that my paycheck will go, okay, did I pay my health insurance? Which covers nothing, by the way. It's like I had to switch doctors because, this doctor doesn't accept that insurance. Oh, we're at our capacity with this. Like, it's just ridiculous, because so it's health insurance. It's then, you have your cell phone bill. I don't even have cable because I can't afford cable. So I use Cindy's Netflix. So
I got rid of my cable too, but yeah, I got Netflix and Hulu.
And I have a digital antenna, so I get the local stations, but I can't tell you how much I miss like being able to DVR something. Because I know, that This Is Us is going to be on, and I don't want to wait till the next day to watch it and watch it on the app. So those are all little sacrifices. But I will say that since losing my job, but I've always been like this too. I feel like I grew up with Portuguese parents and they just taught you how to like be frugal with your money. But it was like, okay, well, I don't need that. That's not a necessity. You don't need cable. You can survive, without it. Or, then there's car insurance. There's like all these other things that you're like, and I feel like minimum wage, you can't pay for all that. You're not going to be, and if you're paying for a car too, imagine that if you're doing
car insurance, rent, water, sewer, electricity, health insurance,
pets. And if you have pets on top of it, I have 2 cats. So I think about it too. Like, well, if I didn't feed them, no, but I love their company. They're like my little babies. So I'm obviously gonna, I'm like, I would never give that up.
Yep. More and more people that I know, they're friends of mine that don't have the tech jobs, the big money jobs and stuff. They do a lot of what we call side hustles. It's just, it's getting out. It's like, oh, now I'm off of this job. Let's see where I can pick up an extra couple of bucks. And somebody needs some help. And it always starts slow. I mean, you mean clean gutters or mow a yard if you can. Right. But if you have a little bit specialized talents, then you can get paid a little more. Yeah. But you end up just staying busy. There's no day offs. There's no time off. Right. It's just stay busy.
Yeah, stay busy. But then you say that, but going back to our passion, like I picked up this retail job, totally not my passion. And it drives me crazy because every day I'm almost reminded of what I don't want to be doing. Right. So it's like, but when I do this podcast, it reminds me you're good at what you do. Right. And where I want to be. Again. So it's like, so I go through this struggle, like we need to work to pay your bills. Right. So, I pick up this retail job, but I hate it every time I go in there because my passion is not there, So, I feel like for you though, your retail job, like that is your passion. So something you enjoy, so, Cindy, that's your passion too. So even though it could be a struggle because, okay, you don't want to work. You're like, man, I don't feel like working today. Yep. For me, it's like even harder for me to convince myself like, hey, go to work. You need the money, so just do it. But, I've been reading a lot of these like self-help books and gratitude and all this stuff. And it's like, yes, I'm grateful that I have a job because, I am, but I read these gratitude books and I read these self-help books and no matter what, I still can't let go of what my passion is, which is radio, which is talking. So it's like, okay, good. Yeah, I like it. But can I please get some more?
But so you're making good steps. You're choosing to come here. You're choosing to record stuff and podcasts. So I think it's going to be hard because you'll have to ramp that up and it'll be cutting into, extra time that you thought you had, but now it'll just eat that away. And next thing you know, you'll be doing the job that you're boring and that you hate so much. Right. And then dumping all the rest of the time into this. But if this at least will leave you feeling a little better,
a little more fulfilled,
yes,
and being able to. So for anyone who's struggling and who's listening to this and being like, oh, well, I have my passion, but I don't want to, try to at least find something you can do once a week that will kind of bring you back and remind you what your passion is and remind you like, no, this is what I want and this is what I'm working towards. So just. Speaking because that's what I need.
Yeah. Well, and also just a little advice too, because I have a few side hustles as well.
You got a bunch of side hustles.
All nursing related. Like sometimes I go to the shipyard and give flu vaccines to the fishing ships that come in, or home health, IV infusion, just lots of side things. But that's because I know when I work too much in the ER, I become really angry all of a sudden. I don't enjoy it as much. I don't feel like my patience level is very high anymore.
Your tolerance
for patients and for providers and for my coworkers, all of that. So I don't pick up overtime in the ER. I stopped doing that a long time ago because I don't enjoy it, and then it starts to stress me out. Whereas now I go in, I pick up shifts here and there as well as all these other jobs. But I love going in. I'm looking forward to it. I love seeing my coworkers and, it's so sometimes, you got to grind and whatever, but maybe you can do two separate things, something that's not going to wear you down where you feel so angry about it and just
bitter and unhappy. Yeah, no, I agree. So, so for now, I'll just focus on this podcast.
We're in an interesting position too, because we don't have families. We don't have things that would preoccupy us from spending time on chasing these ideas down.
Right.
And so I think that is a wonderful thing in itself. And I'm not saying it's a better or worse thing. It just is a thing that is happening. So we might as well capitalize on it.
Right. No, I agree.
And I like that you said it as a nice thing, because sometimes I think as women, you think, and you're in your 30s and like, oh, well, all my friends have a family and kids. Like, does that mean I'm not where I'm supposed to be right now?
Right.
Or, but I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Right.
You do start to stack yourself up and look,
Yeah, well, even with, you say that because then I look back and I feel like when I was still working in radio and I would look back, I'd be like, well, you know what? I'm really happy where I'm at in my career and this is where I'm supposed to be. But then when I lost my job, it kind of makes you kind of think like, well, am I really supposed to be here? What should I do next? And like your mind just starts going, and it's and I feel like, and I've talked to you about this, Cindy, it's like you almost go through this depression, like, cause you're like, but I know what I want, but I can't get there. And you start focusing on this one thing you really want. And it's like, you're almost going crazy. I'm like, I'm going nuts here. Like, what's my problem? So, and that's why I started with the self-help books and the gratitude and trying to be like, no, just, you got to stay positive because, and I keep saying this to my friends and they're like, shut up, you self-help guru. It's like, it's the intention, what you put out there and it's the vibes you put out there. And then it all comes back and it all comes, it's positivity. So every day it's a struggle. Trust me. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, ugh, but every day, and I've said this to you, I get out of bed and I'm like, okay, CrossFit. Because sometimes I'll wake up with just that negative energy and I'll work out, kick ass, walk out of there and I'm like, I got this.
Yeah.
So whatever it takes for you to feel like I got this, I think you should do it.
Those endorphins are legit.
I know. You've seen me work out.
You don't ever like swim in the negative energy, like just like dive in full on.
Oh God,
like
yeah, man. We've had these phone conversations. I'm like crying, yes, but
We both do.
Yeah, and but I feel like for me, the last time that happened, I let that happen for one day, almost 24 hours, and then I listened. It was funny. I listened to this like. It was some podcast about depression and how you can be in control about it and whatever. And all of a sudden I snapped out of it. It was weird because I was like, it's like the switch. Like I just switched and I said, you know what? He's fucking right. And like, I was like, I just started focusing more on the positive. Like, well, you don't need that and you don't need that. And just focus on this. If you know this is what you want, then go after it. And yeah, your life right now, this period sucks. And one day you're going to look back at it and be like, man, I thought that was bad. So, but I'm looking forward to getting over that. And, but I do, like, there's a lot of times like my nephew's birthday was this past weekend. Right. And I almost completely forgot about it. And so I talked to my mom and she's like, yeah, I'm going over to Sandra's house for, Jade's birthday. And I was like, oh my God, it's his birthday. And I am such a big person on birthdays. Like, everyone's birthday, like, oh, it's your birthday. Let's do something. Let's grab a drink. And the fact that had almost, it wasn't even in my mind because I feel like I'm not at the place that I want to be at, that I can't celebrate any of these things. Right. It almost took the joy out of these things that I should be happy about. And it's like, I see all these stories on the news and about the, today could be your last day. I don't want to feel like that. I don't want to feel like, like this whole year passed me by and I didn't care about one thing. Like, no, when are you going to care? When you find out you have some terminal disease? Like, no, you have to focus on the now and be grateful for what you have right now,
Yeah.
So.
Well, and like depression can in yourself be a very selfish thing, and it's because you're so fixated on like these specific things that you're not achieving and you're not looking at the bigger picture, And so, yeah, it's like you said, it's good to branch out and just think about the people around you and your friends and your family and the birthdays and
right.
Stop. Not that you're egocentric, but everybody can be, especially when they're feeling depressed because it's just,
or they're going through something, yeah.
And so that's when it's good to reach out to those friends and go to the parties you don't want to go to.
Yeah. And force yourself to do these. I find that when I start feeling like that I have to reach out and it's like, I have to go out and be with people. Cause the second, and it's just cause I'm very social, right? And I may not talk to them. To be around people, it makes me feel 100 times better. And that's one reason I love CrossFit too, is like, I walk in there and it's like, hey D, how are you? And I'm like, oh, okay. Hey, I'm back. It's like, and I'm not sure everyone feels like that, they like to be around people, but I know for me, it helps tremendously. And I'm like, all right, you got it. You're good. So, yeah, it's weird. It's a struggle. And I feel like I have my ups and downs. Like I'll be fine and cruising along. And all of a sudden it's like something happens and I'm like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Like,
And that's why I asked if you ever just like dive in and swim in that, because I don't know if it's healthy, but that's typically the way I get through.
Yeah,
being
you
depressed and
indulge
being
in it.
sad.
You
exactly.
kind of-
So if you're feeling bummed out, you know, I just start to like, first it always starts with like put on the saddest music I can and just like just get into it and just get
and
emotional.
cry.
And then it's like, oh, what else can I do that's super sad? Yeah, just make some big food and get crazy. Or, you know, you start to do like the staring out the rainy window and you're in the movie and it's the moment that's the sad. Or go sit on a bench by yourself and just be alone. And
I did that the other day when I went for a run on Green Lake, and I was like, I put my iPod and I put the saddest song, and I just sat there. I was like, okay, just let it out of your soul. Just let it cry. Because I feel like a good crying session really, really helps. To me, I say cleanse the soul. Like, just get it out. Just get it out. So yeah, you are right. But I feel like a lot of times I stop myself from doing that. Just because maybe the way I was raised or something is like, no, don't shed a tear. You got this, or, you know, and then I kind of force myself not to get into my feelings.
Yep. And
you know?
I've always approached it like if you're trying to like make yourself more sad, like I'm going to put on the sad music or I'm going to do something like that, you get kind of good at it. And then all of a sudden you're starting to be happy at how well you are at making yourself upset. Is the way, and it's interesting the way that it works and stuff. I also do it. And I also always remind myself that this is just a phase and it will
is a
go.
phase,
and sometimes it's a long phase, sometimes a short phase. But again, if you're given this, and it's almost a gift to feel like that, the way I feel it is, and you might as well use it. And so when in my head, I'm like, oh, can I write a song? Is there a song in me that I need to write? Grab the guitar. Let's see if something in there. Oh, and maybe I should paint a picture. Maybe I should do something.
You say that, and I tell myself too, I'm like, you should blog right now because all these feelings are so raw and so real. You need to just get this out of your system, you know? So, and I haven't done that, but I've been very close to actually like, hey, this is just putting it all out on my blog and just get it out. And I feel like our fear though is then people's reaction to what you've written or the song that you put together. Like, and you know what? We have to stop thinking that way, and we need to just be like, let it
in the moment.
Yeah, in the moment, and I don't know, just show that real raw emotion because that's what makes us human.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and this is the super cliche thing to say, but I do feel like every single thing that you go through, no matter how hard or great it is, leads you to the next big thing. And like,
I'm waiting.
Yeah, no, I know. But it's like,
waiting.
you know, if in nursing school, if this one lady didn't make me retake her class because I was like sick a lot and missed her class, I hated her because I didn't get to graduate with all my friends. But if those things didn't happen, like I wouldn't have been working in Miami Beach when I was at the time when I found out about that job and applied for it. You know, there was a lot of work that went into getting the job, but I would have never heard of it had I not been exactly where I was right then.
Right.
You know, like all these little things, like we wouldn't be sitting here at this table together. It sounds silly, but it's true.
I know, right.
Like one thing leads us to another, and it's hard waiting for the good thing. But like, I feel like it's coming.
Yeah. You say that, and it's funny because I look back to when I moved out here, and I moved out here for radio, and I think to myself, well, maybe you should have never moved out here. That thought has never occurred to me because I've said to myself, well, I'm happy, that I did. It allowed me to grow, and I've met really cool people, like, some really good friends. So I'm in the place now that I kind of think of, I'm in the process of being like, well, maybe I should just move back home, move back to New England, and I go back and forth. And to me, it's sort of like a struggle because I feel like I have a good base here right now. And then I tell myself, well, why are you going to move back home if you don't even have anything lined up there yet? So you're going to be in the same situation, probably even worse, right? So just sit and stay put. But I don't like sitting and staying put. Like I'm just very like, got to make things happen. You got to make things happen. And it's just like, I'm getting like antsy and anxious, and I don't want to see things happen, but I feel like it's not going on my timeline. It's going on someone else's timeline, and I kind of have to let it be. But man, it's a struggle.
And moving from Boston, obviously sad moving from the place that you lived and grew up and stuff. But was it like a positive experience of moving away from there?
Yes, like because then I look back and I think, well, how did you feel when you moved, right? When I packed my stuff and I left, like, although I was sad because I was leaving, I was leaving my parents, my sister, my family, my friends. And I was dating a guy back then too. I knew in my gut, like it was the right decision. Right. So it's like, yeah, I cried when I said bye to my parents and I drove cross country with my sister, but I knew in my heart, I was like, this is the right thing. Right. So it was hard, but I knew it was the right thing. I don't know if moving back home, if that's the right, like in my gut, I'm not getting that feeling. Like when this job opportunity came up in Seattle and I moved out here, I was nervous about it. Although I knew it was a good opportunity, I was nervous and I was like, hey, and I was afraid of change. But I was like, confront your fears. You want to move forward in life, right? Mm-hmm. So just do it. And so I did. But now I'm at that point where I'm not even getting one thing or the other. I just feel like maybe if I wait a little longer, it'll happen here. Or maybe it'll happen somewhere else. I mean, a job could turn up in, I don't know, Arizona or, who knows, right? Miami. And then I'm there. Like, I don't know. I feel like I shouldn't make a move until there's something out there for sure.
Yep.
Right.
I have a friend that I met a few years ago here in Seattle, and him and his wife moved from Hawaii to Seattle, bigger town, bigger stuff, more stuff to do.
Right.
And he started to get really homesick within the first 3 or 4 years of being here. And so one day we're sitting down talking, and I had to remind him, I'm like, you came from a very small place out there. I mean, it's a smaller island. There's a lot to do, but there's not a ton to do compared to the city. And he's like, oh yeah, but I miss it so much. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's go through some stuff. On your first day back, what would you do? He's like, oh, I'd visit my family. And I'm like, oh, that's great. You're going to spend time with your family. That'll probably take a day or two to get to see everybody.
Right.
And then what? And he's like, oh, I would eat at my favorite restaurants because I'm back. I can see it. I'm going to go to the beach. I'm like, cool. Day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6. And he's like, well, I don't know what I would do. And I'm like, yeah, you'll be in the same position you were before you left.
Right.
And granted, he moved from a small place to bigger. And you obviously, Boston's a much larger place than Hawaii for sure. But the idea is that we came from somewhere to someplace new. And I think that yearning to go back and if it was to go back to the place where you came from, it would only last for, a week or two before.
Right. But it's a sense of security because it's something you already know.
Yeah.
But I also toy with the idea because I worked in radio for 8 years in Providence. So it's like I have a bigger network there. I know, you know what I mean? So I feel like I have more connections. I can kind of work it more out there than, here. Mm-hmm. So,
that makes sense.
That's why I go back and forth about it too. So I'm like, well, your network's out better and like bigger, but when the snow comes, you're gonna get pissed. Like, but at least you got your Dunkin' out there.
Love Dunkin'.
Yeah. I was like, well, there's Starbucks here, so it's like I go back and forth. And at the end of the day, and I was driving home yesterday, this is when I felt like blogging too. I was like, you need to write a blog about, and I've said this before on the podcast about just my friends that I have. And I've said to, my mom has always said to me, gosh, man, you're so lucky with your friends, because then I also look at my sister and I'm like, well, she's got a couple good friends, but it's different. Like I went away to school, I went to college. I kind of was always kind of on my own. Like once I was 18, I was out of the house. And, but I always, wherever I moved, I always made these connections and these relationships because to me, my friends represented my family, right? So no matter where I went, like I'd have these people that were like family to me. And so here I feel like Cindy's like family to me. She's like a sister, Kendall's like another sister to me. And then, there's Jeff. He's like, I'd say a bigger brother, but I feel like I'm his big sister. So like, so there's these like, and then there's Rachel and then there's Ian. And I've noticed time and time again, when something does come up, there's one of my friends that just steps forward and it's like, holy shit. Like I do really have great friends. And I don't know, a lot of times people have said, that shows the type of person you are, but I will say that like out of everything that's happened in my life in the last year and a half, I'm like, I'm so grateful for my friends because I would probably have lost my shit by now. Yeah. I really would have.
It's your chosen family.
Yeah, it's my chosen family. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and I went home back. When did I? So I went to Portugal, but before that I stopped in Connecticut. My parents lived there. And I don't think I ever want to move back to Connecticut. Like it was just this feeling of like, and like I said, my sister, my nephew, my best friend from like middle school. That's it. That's like have an aunt and uncle, but I saw them in Portugal. But I was like, that's basically it. That's all I have in Connecticut. And I've never felt like I've never wanted to leave a place so much. And when I left Connecticut at 18, I told myself, I'm never coming back. And I don't have that feeling to go back to Connecticut. Like Boston, Providence, Rhode Island, like that, those areas, yes. But not Connecticut. Sorry, CT. Yeah, I don't know. Would you ever move back to Colorado?
No way.
No. See?
Not a chance. Yeah. Even going back and visiting my grandpa this time, it's the same thing every time I go back.
Yeah.
Like everything is familiar but colorless, if that makes a sense. Like it's the same things I always knew, but it's just not as vibrant as it used to be.
That's a great analogy. Yeah, I would agree because like my mom and I went to go get ice cream and it was like, oh, great. I love this ice cream. But it was like, okay, same spot that we go to all the time. Yeah, it's different. How about you? Would you ever move back to Miami, Sydney? No?
But, on to his point earlier, when he talked about like wanting to go home or when you're feeling down, that guy wanting to go back. I have no desire to go back to Miami. And I've said that a million times. Like, right. I'm never living there again. Mm-hmm. But after this breakup, I like
considered it, right?
I just want to go home.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I thought that and felt that, even though I know that I don't want to go home. Like there's nothing for me over there except my friends and my family. Mm-hmm. But that initial feeling of like when you're down of like just
wanting to be surrounded by people who've known you all your life. And there's something comforting in that. Like someone who, who's seen you at your worst and like, like having your mom and dad even take care of you sometimes. I'm like, Mom, can you make me soup? I love that. And I've always said this. I have never felt more comfortable. Like whenever I'm on my couch or I always have to be doing something, right? And whenever I'm on my mom's couch, I'm okay with not doing anything. Like it's the weirdest but great feeling. And so even when I lived in Providence and I would drive to my mom's or my parents' house, it was the only time I felt like I could do nothing. But when I was like, back in my place, I always felt like I had to do something. It's weird.
I don't feel like I have to
do
anything.
I know you don't.
If anything, I feel like I have to do something when I visit people so they don't think I'm lazy. But at home, I don't feel like I need to do anything.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you want to come over and help me clean up?
You want to watch TV while I clean around you?
Yeah, which means, hey, do you want to help me clean up? Can you help me with laundry? Yeah. So anyhow, that's how I've been feeling, going back and forth. We were talking about passion and, following our dreams. And, one of my old advisors from school told me this one time. He said, you know what, Dee, you have two options. You either still pursue your dream and follow your dreams or you stop. Which one do you want? And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to stop. Like, you always have an option. It's either, yes or no, or pursue it or stop. And I was like, well, I don't give up. Like, I don't. And I think it's just how I am. Like whether sometimes it's relationships and maybe I should give up and maybe I should walk away, but it's like that challenge, like, and I feel like everything in my life, it's always been a challenge because it's then that satisfying to me when I get it, and it's just like, you have to learn sometimes though, especially in relationships, that it sometimes isn't good for you and you should just turn your back and you should do it for yourself, So, and say bye.
Bye.
I love the way Sydney says that. Hey, thanks for listening to Deanna Cruz Unfiltered. Don't forget to leave a review or a 5-star rating. Every review helps more people discover the show. And you can find my social media links right above. Follow me. It's just @Deanna Cruz.